And we're live. Hooray. Hello, friends, and let me pull up the chat on my phone here, because I only have one computer monitor. But yeah, we're here with Damian from Audio Kinetics. Say hello, Damian.
Howdy. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thanks for coming. I'm glad we were able to do this. So today, instead of my usual composition stream, this is going to be more of like an implementation type thing. So doing some Wwise stuff and then implementing it in Unity. So that'll be fun. And let me make a tweet real quick that we're live now. Live now. If I can spell live. Alright.
Well, you know, it's the same spelling as live.
Thank you. That's true. Very helpful.
Yes. That's I usually am.
Okay. Oh no, okay. So if people are here. Oh hey. Josie is here. Hello, Josie. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, so let's get started. So, Divinuet is my game that I'm making, where essentially you get a tarot reading, a 3-card tarot reading, and depending on which cards are drawn, you get a unique musical experience. So there's a reading part where essentially each individual card plays a little theme, and then after that is a generative part where the cards together, each one essentially picks a layer, and then the layers together make a unique piece of music. And so what we're going to be doing today is some implementation type stuff for the generative phase. So you can kind of see, if you look in here, I need to rename this. Let me do that. Generative music. There we go. Okay. So we've got tracks here, and there are 4 layers.
Well, and I just have to say, I love the idea of how this generatively will create a composition that aligns with the reading in a way that is always different. It's always appropriate, and it takes your composition and kind of, it must really unfold your composition style, right? Because you have to think about things in all of this like multitudinal branching kind of way, right?
Yeah, it is a lot. I wish I had the spreadsheet open. Maybe I'll open it later, but I have like a very specific set of rules for what each layer can be doing at any given time. And essentially, actually, let me just, no, I'll open it later, maybe. But essentially, at any given time, there's only one layer that can be playing any notes different than the one note than everything else is playing. So, for example, this section I'm circling here, the bass, tenor, and alto can all only be playing the note C. And then the soprano can be playing any notes it wants, as long as, it doesn't clash with the C that all the other cards are playing. And,
totally.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I did it. Oh, lots of friends talking in the chat. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. So right now I have everything just set up, as you can kind of see here, as random subtracks, just because I don't have a lot written yet. But what we're going to do today is actually program the base layers to be able to correspond with the card majority. And so that's what determines the base is whatever suit of cards you have the most of. So in tarot there are 5 suits. There's the cups, the pentacles, the swords, the wands, and the major arcana. And then there's also going to be a 6th possible layer for if you get all different suits, so no majority. So let me start by adding, because I have 3 in here already, so I have to add the other 3, which are already written. I just forgot to actually add them before we started this. So.
Well, I'm a straight sucker for the process, so it's great to see you, working in Wwise and just, watching you do the magic of setting this stuff up for the Unity side programming of things. I love watching people work.
I'm glad. Okay, so I have everything except.
And I've tuned into the stream in the past, and again, I think part of that process of seeing creatives expressing themselves and finding ways to express themselves as you're doing, both musically, implementation-wise, and on the Unity side of things, it's just such a valuable process to take part in. I'm just thankful to be here riding along with you.
I'm really glad. And I feel like watching streams also just teaches me a lot, just watching other people's workflows and stuff. I feel like I've learned a lot from watching like Josie's stream, for example, who is here. So what we're going to do first is change this to switch subtracts instead of the random step. And then we're going to associate it. And I actually had already made some. So let me start by making the correct states. So we're going to go to game sinks here, and we got generative base, and I had already made them for cups and wands, so I just have to make the other 4. So swords, pentacles, major arcana, and null for when there is no majority.
Wow, great to see everyone in the chat room.
Yeah, there's a lot of chat.
Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, I'm looking at my chat on the phone. I'm not just like texting people because I only have a 1 monitor setup. So just FYI, if you see me looking at my phone, that's what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Hello, friends. And if anyone has any questions during this, feel free to ask, what I'm doing. Okay.
There is one question in here. Wwise is better than Fmod? Question from Johnny. I don't think that there's necessarily a better. I think it's what works best for your production and what you're most comfortable in. They are both tools.
Yeah, I've never.
So, yeah.
I've
Whatever
never
works.
used Fmod before, but yeah. Okay, so we're gonna set the default to.
Great, and the question, I'll just field this one. What is Wwise?
Oh yeah, thank you, Damian.
Is it a DAW? It is not a DAW exactly. If you know what a DAW is, you're kind of used to shaping wave files, maybe even doing some music or synthesis in it. But Wwise is an audio middleware that sits in between, oftentimes, content created in a DAW and a game, and allows you to create behaviors for the playback of sound. It does do a little bit of wave file editing and synthesis, DSP effects, but essentially it's a tool that sits in the middle and allows you to prepare audio for a game to be played back. So
yes,
and that's what Megan's doing today. Prepping a bunch of music that you wrote. Now, do you write this in Logic?
I use Cubase.
Cubase.
Yes.
Awesome. And so you've written a bunch of music in Cubase.
Mm-hmm.
Or just pen and paper? Do you do that too?
No, not really. I do pretty much everything straight in Cubase.
Yeah. Piano player.
Yeah,
by
mainly.
trade. Gotcha. and so you've written the music, you've imported in, and now you're kind of working on that behavior piece to tie it all together.
Yeah, exactly. So what I did just now while Damian was explaining what Wwise is was I set associations to each of these subtracks. So each of these is a base layer, and I associated each one with a different state. So the state that matches whatever layer it is. So now, hopefully, when we pick the base layer, it'll play the correct one. So let's start with cups. So yeah, that is the cups. And then we'll just go through and make sure I did them all correctly. Yeah. That's right.
Cool.
That's correct. Correct. They're all pretty similar, as you can see, but the feel is a bit different. And then the wands is really different from the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a question. What does it do in practice over just throwing an MP3 file into Unity and running play on it? Basically, this can do a lot more like interactive things. Like what I'm doing is building one, like a piece with different layers that'll play depending on things happening in the game. So Damian might also be better at explaining this than me.
No, that was a great explanation. And I think as we led the stream talking about how it will, the game, which we'll have a look at here in a minute, will compose on the fly this generative music piece. And so this is different. This is way different than an MP3 where it's just picking one or another, because it's actually creating almost an ensemble of these different layers, of these different pieces that will actually compose the music on the fly. And so that's different than a static wave file or MP3.
Yeah, and you can pick the behavior that'll happen from transitions between different parts of the game and that kind of thing too, which I'll show some of that later too. But yeah, for this right now, I also have, you see here, card 1, card 2, and card 3. So the base, as I mentioned, is chosen by which card there is a majority of, but the rest are different. These are each picked by whatever the card is, and I put the cards, there are 78 of them, I put them into 26 different groups, so there will be 26 different possibilities for each voice. So card 1 picks the tenor, card 2 picks the alto voice, and card 3 picks the soprano. And I don't have a lot of those written yet. I just have 2 groups, so right now I just have them set to play randomly. But in the actual game, once that's all done, that'll change. It'll actually, be programmed in.
Yeah. Well, and already, like, you can see the exponential explosion of layers, and it's good to see that you're
it's a lot.
whittling that down.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
Alex is getting anxiety in the chat room from that many music stems.
I'm sorry,
but don't
Alex.
let it get to you, Megan. It's going to be okay. It's one stem at a time.
Okay. Yeah. So the next thing would be to make our events, to set the states. So too many. Okay. We're going to make a folder for these so we can keep organized, because there are going to be a lot of them. Not now,
Smart.
but eventually. And we'll call these generative states. Okay.
Hallelujah for naming things what they are. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to do the events. And
right, and so these events, these are what the game is going to call in order to set these states, and you'll kind of feed that into whatever programming you've done already that establishes what the major or what the base type is.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll show that once we get into Unity.
Awesome. Awesome. It's good to have some sound design representation in the chat room. Yes, it's a safe space for everyone, thanks, Josie.
Yes.
Sound designers are composers of audio in their own way, and takes all kinds.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm just making the events for all of these guys now. And I usually just copy and paste an already made event because it's faster.
Yeah.
I've found a little
and
bit.
it's those kind of workflow tweaks that are so sweet to catch other people leveraging. Those are the kind of things that you can't write into a manual. They just happen because people find the fastest workflow.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
I'm glad. Almost done. Sorry. That's 4 of 6. The cat's behind me. I don't know if y'all can see her. Swords. No, not just one. Multiple swords. There we go. And wands.
Beauty. And this is the association of an event for a type with the state of its type.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so that's good. I'm gonna save that. Actually, before we get into there, let me just show you what this will sound like with the other layers on top so that y'all will know. So one of the layers I have in here is like pretty atonal. It's about feeling stuck. All the 3 cards that are in there, that group. And then the other one is about ambition, so it's very like fast synthy. So it'll randomly pick layers for the tenor, alto, and soprano from those. But let's do swords. Yeah, so that's one of the ones about feeling stuck. Yeah, and then the alto is also from that same one. I'm hoping it'll do one from the other group for soprano so we can hear. Yeah, there we go. That's from the ambition group. Yeah, so that's just to give you an idea. But yeah, what you heard there, and Neha, this will kind of get into your questions. So yeah, at any given time, most of the layers will just be playing one note. So at the end there, what you heard was everything is playing a C, except for the top layer, which can play anything as long as it doesn't clash with the C, essentially. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're going to save this, and we're going to build our sound bank with the new stuffs. Sound banks. Get everybody into there and generate.
Well, yeah, and that's already got your your virtual folder in it.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss? Yeah. So you have it, just one sound bank. All the events that you make just automatically end up in there, ready for your game.
Yes. Oh, hi, Tice. I know how to say your name now, by the way. Say it correctly. Alright, so now we're here in Unity, and I actually have to do a little bit of programming real quick, because I wanted to show you all how I do that. Yeah. So in here we got our scripts, and pretty much everything lives on here. So you can see here where I'm circling, there are already some events in here from some other stuff before. But yeah, so let me open up this script. It's got to think for a minute.
It's great to have this whole picture of what music is for you, and in the creation of this, right, across the composition, the implementation, the coding. There's the visual aspect, which you're about to get to, but it's great to see that whole picture. And that was something that I loved watching previous streams, is just that you are the orchestrator of this entire project, and so you have this command of your tool set across all these different areas, and I think that's a pretty special and fantastic skill to have. It's great to see.
Thank you. A lot of this coding was not done by me. But yeah,
you're navigating it. Yeah, you're doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is I'm making the event variables, essentially, that'll show up in the inspector. So we'll do this. We'll do space cups. And if you have any questions about this, anyone, let me know. Base ones. I'm actually going to copy and paste this. Why are you indented? Don't be indented. Yeah. Ah. This is going very well.
Megan Josie says you're just very powerful.
Oh.
And I couldn't agree more.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
We're pretty much hyping you today. We got this. Oh, you're also the Senate, it sounds like. And the actual definition of Megan, someone says, a very powerful being. Yeah. This is, I think, Merriam-Webster.
Y'all are so kind. I love it. Okay, someone asked, what made you choose to work in Unity versus Unreal? So basically I tried them both, and I always do 2D games rather than 3D, and I just liked Unity's tools better. But I know a lot of people who prefer Unreal. Both are great, so yeah, I think it's just a matter of preference.
We are in kind of a golden age of tool choice, it feels.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and they should show up in the inspector now. Oh, it's thinking. Okay. Yeah, okay, so you can see them all here. So this is where I'll actually attach the events, and I'm going to do that now. So, yeah, we opened it up here. We got events, generative states, base, and yeah, they're here. So now I'm going to associate.
Ooh, I have a question.
Yes.
So whatever kind of dark magic you were using in code over there, when it creates this space for the Wwise event in the inspector, automatically pulls open the Wwise hierarchy of the Wwise picker. That is sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's very handy. Okay, let's see. This one's ones. I should have done these in alphabetical order or something, but I didn't. Pentacles. Swords. So these are the events I just made in Wise a little bit ago. I'm now associating to this code. Major Arcana. I don't know why. It's kind of annoying that it doesn't just remember, what folder I had opened before, but it's okay. It's
True
not
story.
a big deal.
Okay, question coming at you from Gina. How did you go about learning Wise and generative music specifically? Sounds like taking it on as well, but what was your path?
So two things. I did the audio mentoring project. Becky Allen was my mentor. She's awesome. And that was kind of the main thing I wanted to learn with her. So she taught me a lot of the composition techniques when it came to interactive music. Yeah, that one, it really helped me to have a one-on-one, instructor or someone teaching me. I feel like that one might have been a little harder to learn on my own. And then for learning actually how to use Wise, there are a lot of really good tutorials actually on the Wise website, like video tutorials, and I mostly taught myself using those. Although Becky helped me as well with learning some Wise stuff.
It's great to hear that that you found someone that you could connect with and kind of explore it with. Like you said, the resources are out there, whether it's tools or videos or documentation, but it's that piece of having someone that you can kind of get outside of your head with the process and talk through it. Sounds like it was really valuable.
Yeah, for sure. It was super helpful. I don't know I think the audio mentoring program is still doing their thing. Do you know, Damian? Or does anyone in the chat know?
It's in a little bit of a hibernation mode as it kind of comes to terms with its growth and the service that it provides, and trying to define for the future what role it can play. So to service the people.
Gotcha. You cut out a little bit there. Can you say whatever you just say again?
It's audio mentoring project is a work in progress, shall we say. It's evolving a bit this year, and looking forward to seeing how it can handle, I feel like, the best of what it's been able to accomplish so far for the future. And total plug, if you're someone in the community who's interested in participating either as a mentor or in this process of evolution, drop a line to the audio mentoring project. Now is a good time to be involved and grow that future.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Damian.
And I got to work with Becky on a game called Plants vs. Zombies Heroes. This was it was fantastic, and she was in the role that you're in now, from a composition standpoint, where as the composer, she was designing the music in Wise. She had a lot of crazy branching. Wow, yeah. You were talking about how exponential the writing expanded, and the same was true for her as one hero went from 24 cards to 96 potential cards, and how do you group those into logical areas. So she was seemed like a great mentor for you to have.
Yeah, it was a really good fit, and yeah, she's awesome. So I was really glad I got to work with her. It was awesome. Okay.
Nice.
Now I want to show you all something I did before I programmed something in that will count the number of cards of each suit and then tell you what the majority is. So I'm going to use that now and add in something to actually set the state once it figures out what the majority is. So hold on, don't remember what we do to post. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do it for each suit. So we got base cups dot post game object. So yeah, that should work, I think. No, it's mad. Why are you mad? What did I do wrong? I've done this before. I just
Lowercase g?
Yeah, that's it. You're right. Thank you. Thank you.
Sometimes it's easier to spot the difference from one screen away.
Yes, thank you. Okay. And yeah, this is essentially just telling it, hey, if there are more than 2 wands, you're gonna post the event to set the base state to play the wand's base layer, essentially.
Right.
Yes. It's a lot of steps, but it's cool. Stop indenting. I don't want you to do that.
Yeah, I was wondering how you were calculating that or where that math was coming in, but this is math that even I can understand.
I'm glad. Oh my god, fine. You can be indented if that's what you really want.
Blair's asking, what does the game object argument do for a 2D game?
I don't really know. When I was doing tutorials, it has to post the event to something, and all the tutorials were like, just post it to the game object. And I was like, alright, and it works. So, yeah. I'm not like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think every game object inherently has its 3 vectors, but in a 2D space, one of those is just clamped.
Yeah.
So it just operates. I think it's maybe the Z vector. I don't know.
Yeah.
Vector is just a word I like to say, so I say it all the time. But essentially, most engines are made up of game objects, whether they operate in a 2D or 3D space.
Yes. Thank you, Damian. Base. Okay, we're almost done. We're on the last one. Yeah,
if you're just tuning in, I'm going to recap real quick.
Thank you.
For folks in the chat while you're doing that. Megan's got some great compositions that she's set up in Wise, created some states to call them based on the majority suit. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah, it's the suit.
And what we were just looking at was wiring in those events to get called by the game when there's more than 2 of any suit in a hand.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Oh yeah, people are talking about the indent settings. Yeah, thank you. I will fix that later, but it's definitely not the right settings I want. So hopefully now I'm going to open the console because I have it sending me a message with whatever the majority is. And I'm going to set this to skip the reading phase and just go straight to the generative. It's a little buggy, but for the purposes of just hearing the music, it'll work. And let's just make sure. Oh, also, real quick, I only have 1 wand, so I'm going to pretend one of the other cards that isn't actually a wand is a wand. We'll make death a wand. Alright. Alright, so let's try this. Go back to the console. And these minute. Okay, and we're gonna do choose cards. You can hear the the reading music happening. And let's start with just 3 major arcana. And we deal them, and then it's going to go straight. Okay, so it says... Yeah, so all this stuff is not supposed to happen, but the music went to the correct thing. So we know it's working, at least for the major arcana. Yeah, and it's playing the other random layer now. And I still need to fix the mix a little, it's not quite right. Okay, and let me just make sure it's working for the other suits. Oh, go ahead.
So while we couldn't see those cards that got picked, what happened is, like, it chose the base, and then for the 3 cards that were chosen, it appropriately played the music based on those card types.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll explain that better. Sorry, I didn't explain that very well last time. So we're going to go to choose cards, and this time I'm going to check to make sure that the cups are working correctly. So I'm going to choose all cups cards. And essentially this is a game mode where if you were to do like a physical reading or something, you could then input the cards into the game to kind of see what it would sound like. And there's also a mode that just chooses them randomly. But anyways, okay, so I have 3 cups selected, so it should play the base layer for cups. And let's just make sure. Okay, yeah, this is the cups layer, so that's correct. And you can also see in the console down here, it told us that cups was the majority.
Yeah, debug for the win.
Yeah, it's very handy. I added that in recently because, you know, I would have to go through the whole reading and everything before, so it was a process. Okay. Are you all, do you want to hear the rest of the layers, me to go through, or do you want me to move on to something else?
Oh, I gotta hear the wands layer again.
Okay.
It had that great tremolo vibrato in it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Okay, we will do that then. Oh yeah, and there's my cat. I don't know if you all can see her, but she likes to be on stream. Okay, so the wands, death is actually a major arcana, but since I only have 1 wand done, I just set it to a wand temporarily, and then we'll pick 1 other random card. It doesn't matter since there are 2 wands, the wands are the majority. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
100% love it.
I'm glad. The wands are very much about like action and like getting stuff done and like power and yeah, they're good. They're very like energetic cards. Okay. So that's that. Okay.
So Blair wants us to dig in a little bit on transitions, and you alluded to it before. We were talking about how, you know, there's this ability to, as the composer, control the way that you get from a piece to another piece or adding layers. You want to talk through those transitions a bit?
Yeah, well, let's do that. Okay. I'm going to go back into Wwise for this. So which transition were you talking about? Were you talking about between like the reading music and then when the bass layer started, I'm guessing? Because that's not actually how it's going to sound in the game, but I can still show you. Let me just go through real quick and show you what all the music for a game would sound like, and kind of so you can hear all the different transitions. So we got our switch container here, which is main music, and the first stage, at least for now, I'm probably going to change this so there's a menu stage. But the first stage is the reading. So we set the game stage state to reading. And it always starts off with the interlude music, which is, let me show you. So the interlude, we have one piano part that plays repeatedly, and then we've got other little bits in the high and low that are randomized, right? So it makes more sense if I play it, so let me just do that. And that little synth pad thing is a transition I programmed in. But yeah, so this is the random, like, bass and soprano parts playing. And then I have it so that when you switch to a different state, this always plays to the end, so it's just 1 4-beat measure is the phrase, right? So it'll always play to the end of the phrase. So then it goes to the Empress, and let me show you real quick, actually. So at the beginning of each of the card themes, which is what played, so what you heard there is essentially when a card flips over, there will be a definition that displays, and I can show you this in game after I show you all this Wise stuff too. But,
sure. And you're flipping between the states, and every time you do flip between states, it's taking a look at the transition matrix for that level of the switch container.
Yeah.
And doing whatever it is you're telling it to do there. In order to get to the right, in order to do it like on the beat, or giving it a crossfade, as you're showing here.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have, you can see, this is between the different like game states, but to go, for example, from the interlude, which is the little like vamp thing that was playing, to the making song, it makes sure it exits at the exit cue, but it plays the post exit, so it plays the reverb, and it goes to the start of playlist, starts at the entry cue, but it also plays this transition segment, which I'll show you in a little bit. It's like a little synth pad thing, so that's another thing. So yeah, there are rules essentially that you can program for transitioning from one thing to the other, which is very handy. And it's through those little transition pieces that you really can smooth out how things go between each other, right? Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I want to note that I think is really key is you're kicking off the music when the game starts, using a single event, and the music always plays. Or by that I mean the music system is always running, and you're just changing whether music is playing or not, or what music is playing, based on what state you're in. For these
exactly. Things. But I only like actually pressed play on it once. Yeah, exactly. Like at the very beginning.
And this is a sweet thing. Like if folks haven't built their own music system, this is a simple way to just start it running, and then use states to sculpt those transitions. The old school way might be, okay, I'm gonna start my music at the beginning of the level, I'm gonna stop my music at the end of the level, start a menu music, stop a menu music. The state-based methodology is way cleaner from a composition standpoint, I think. I think you're doing a great thing there, and obviously, as folks have been commenting, it's so smooth.
I'm glad y'all think so. Really, really glad to hear that. And let me show you also, so at the beginning of each of the little card segments, I baked in essentially one piano note. So it'll kind of be a smoother transition from the interlude music into that, so you can hear it like yeah, right there. So let me show you then how that sounds going from the interlude music into that. And I tried programming that as like a transition or something, but it ended up being just easier to just bake it into the audio files themselves.
Totally.
Yeah, so you can hear that. That's actually in the High Priestess audio file, not, you know, baked into, or not set as a transition or anything.
Sure.
And that makes it a lot smoother, because that's something I was running into a lot, was that the changes seemed very sudden, so that's kind of the solution I came up with for that. And then let me show you. So you're, at this time, the, like, definition for the card is fading in. And then once it's done, it goes back to the interlude music. Oh, thank you, y'all. So yeah, it goes back to the interlude music there. And then let's say your reading's done. Then it goes to this little message that says it's generating your song based on that your 3 cards made together, right? So we're gonna set the game stage. I called it making song. And then it'll go to the end of the phrase and goes. So it does that, and then once you click to start the generative phase, oh, and let's see, what should we do? Let's do the wands again, because Damian likes them. And then we go to generate. And yeah, there's like stuff happening on screen and stuff, but that's kind of how that works. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but yes.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
And again, I think that the piece that you were working on today, just to summarize that one more time.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to let you do it.
Okay. Yeah, so essentially, you get a 3-card reading, and there are 5 different suits of tarot cards, and depending on which one there's the most of in your reading, you'll get a different base layer that'll play during the generative section of the game. And the generative section is what kind of builds a song for you depending on your cards. So essentially, let me go back here. So essentially, yeah, we've got these switch subtracts here for the base. And we got cups, wands, pentacles, major arcana, swords, and null in case there's no majority, like you have 3 different suits. And I have states set up for those here. So yeah, yep. And eventually there are going to be states for all the different layers, but right now I have everything else set up as random. So yeah, if you want, I can show you everything in-game just to give you an idea of what it'll look like. If you want.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So let's do that. Because this definitely all makes more sense in context. So yeah, you can either do a random reading or choose the cards manually. Let's do a random one. So you get to deal your cards. And everything's super rough art-wise right now, by the way. It's all gonna be like on a table with candles and all this stuff. It's gonna be really cool. Oh, I forgot to turn off the debug mode.
It's a valuable part of the process.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Gonna try this again. that's cut off. Oh, okay. Got scaled up somehow. There we go. Okay, so we flip our card over. Oh, it's mad for some reason. Oh no, what did I do?
I mean, this is all part of the process when you're developing your own game, right?
Yeah.
Nice that you're able to audition that over in Wwise and the audio tool. You can hear that, you know, what you set up is working. And even in your prototype environment, you had it working. Wow, now's the hard part. You have to debug the game, right?
Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't doing this earlier. I don't know why. Got mad. I got mad at this line for some reason. So what if we just commented it?
Right.
Gonna get mad. We'll see. Oh. No, it doesn't like that. Just kidding. Let me see something. We might have to not play through the game and just do something else. We'll see.
That's fair.
Try one more time. Object reference. Okay, it was giving me this before, and I don't know. So, that's really weird that it's getting mad about just this one.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also all stuff that I don't need, so I might just get rid of it. Sorry.
Okay. I trust you.
Okay, we'll try this. And if this doesn't work, then I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, think. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So just delete stuff, you know, it's fine. So we got our card fading in.
Cool.
Oh, there was a pop there. Have to remember that and fix that. I have to change these fade times too, so that instead of having these times where you're just sitting here doing nothing, I'd rather have the text fade in like, more slowly, so there's something happening more often. Well, I'm glad you all like it.
This was an apropos card.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, and I used a callback there, so if you click before the end of the measure, it waits. Oh, that's interesting. Just a little eye. But yeah, it waits until the next measure to start fading in. So I used a wise callback for that. I was very proud of myself that I figured that out.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say that timing, you know, it's good to be able to let the music play through to your intention, right? It's sounds great.
Thank you. And it's the kind of thing where, like, before I did it, it was noticeable that the timing wasn't right, but now it's like, now that it's correct, you don't really notice it. It's just, you know, how it goes. Oh, this is my favorite piece of music. I'm excited. wore my wedding dress for the stream when I made this. It was fun. Oh, Josie, yeah, I will definitely explain the callback after we're done with this. Okay, so the timing is kind of off for this next part. I have to fix it. Yeah, so it's supposed to change right there to this music, but sometimes there's a delay. And so this should go to the no majority bass. So we'll see if it does. Yeah, that's correct.
Voila.
And there'll be a lot more art happening at this part, but the color of the stars here is picked by your combination of cards.
Oh, cool!
Yeah. It's it's a RGB, and so card 1, like, each has a number assigned, so card 1 will pick the R, or RBG, yeah. So that's a basic walkthrough of how the game's gonna work. It's obviously very rough still, but the basic functionality is there, which is good. But yeah, Josie wanted to know how the callback works, so let me show you that real quick.
What does callback even mean?
So callback means that Unity is going to get some information from Wwise, essentially. So Wwise is going to tell it, like in this case, when the measure is done. So let me show you. I don't know if I'm not a programmer, so I'm not like the best at explaining these things.
No, you did great. Again, there's information that Wwise knows kind of under the hood about things that are happening in the music system specifically, and even outside the music system, that can be passed to the game and actioned on the same way that you would action an event or action parameters.
Yes. Okay, so essentially you can see here that I have it set to do a callback for music sync entry. So basically it's saying, hey, like when you reach the next entry point, do the thing. And so for the interlude music, I have it so the entry point is every measure, right? So, and then, let me go down here. Essentially, it's saying, like, hey, when this callback happens, if you're in a game state called pre-reading, which is the state when the card is flipped over, but the definition hasn't displayed that, it says, okay, wait for the next entry to happen, and then basically start reading the card, have the definition pop up. So that's how that works, kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Comment from the chat from Alex. Callbacks are what Martin Stig Anderson used for inside music timing. I'm pretty sure that's true. You'd have to dig back into some of the talks that he gave on Inside at GC. But yeah, it would be totally legit to like leverage callbacks in order. We're talking about those big shock waves. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
So
yeah,
that would be
that seems right.
one way.
That's what that would be used for. Yeah.
Other cool things, music callbacks. There was a while where I made this crazy prototype thing that would actually physics impulse objects in the level when it got a beat or bar information from music. So you get
cool.
These like bouncing cubes or spheres. That was kind of fun. You get them bouncing on the beat. But essentially the music callbacks, unlock this ability to push information from the music system back into the game and then use that information, like Megan's doing here, like
we're probably gonna have for the generative section too, there's going to be a lot more like art and animations happening, so we're probably going to make things like happen on the beat or something. Not 100% sure of that yet, but and the like tutorial video I watched on how to do callbacks, it was like they had like these trees that would kind of like pulse every beat. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
call that the two-way street of game audio, right? Like usually it's the game asking of audio to dance or do something, but when you can push it back to the game, that's the bi-directional influence of audio, both as something playing back as well as that opportunity to influence something over on the game side.
Yeah, exactly. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to see? Getting the base stuff programmed in there was pretty much all I had planned, and that took a lot shorter than I thought it would. So, yeah, if any of y'all have any questions or anything, let me know. I don't know how much of a delay there is.
Yeah.
If at all.
I'll just say, for my part, it was such a nice, succinct chunk that had all the different pieces as part of it, right? I think the only thing we didn't see was your compositional style in Cubase.
Yeah. And that was on purpose, because I was worried about my computer having to run hangs and like OBS and audio stuff and Unity and Wwise and Cubase all at the same time. But
true story.
Yeah, most of my streams I do more of the composition stuff. So
and I think that's what I was going to mention, is that, you know, today, you know, your project is well formed, right? You've come such a long way in the. How long has it been in development?
When did I start? I want to say like in the fall of 2019, maybe summer.
Gotcha. So, yeah, and you have a catalog of streams that go that far back that people can tune into to see more of your composition process, to see more of the initial setup.
Yeah, and I don't remember what else I was going to say, but yes.
And then the other piece of it is Divinuet is a project that people can fund. Yeah,
so I ran an Indiegogo for it back in like November, or was it October? I don't remember. Anyways, but since we got funded fully, Indiegogo has this thing called In Demand, which lets you basically continue funding after the campaign is technically over. So I'm essentially treating it, you know, like a pre-order plus whatever extra perks you want. There are lots of different things. Thank you for linking it, Josie.
Thanks, Josie.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, the crowdfunding process, you know, it's stressful but very fun, and it's, you know, nice to know that people actually want to support the game with their money and such.
Right. And are there also some resources for folks out there? Did I see that prototypes of the game are available to be played, or?
There's a link to that, I think, on the Indiegogo, but it's on itch.io. There's a very early prototype of it available. I think there are only like 10 cards in there or something. And the generative music isn't programmed at all. But yeah, if you want to like get a feel for the game, you know, play through it. Yes, thank you, Josie. Josie is our excellent link sharer. I appreciate it. So that's free if you want to check it out. Yeah, Josie's on it. Damian, do you have anything that you want to plug or anything?
So I started live streaming as part of my job at Audio Kinetic last year. Try to have one every month. And the next one will be on February 20th. I'll be talking it with an IGF audio nominee for the game Astrologaster.
Oh, cool.
And so we'll be listening through, playing through some of that game, talking about the use of Wise. It's a very dialogue-heavy game. If you haven't played it, it's a Shakespearean narrative healing astrology game.
Yeah. I've never played, but I've heard it's awesome. So, yeah, that sounds really cool.
So we'll chat with them, and the last stream that I did was with the sound designer for the indie game Grease, which is side scroller, just gorgeous, opulent, really tasty sound design, and so I feel like I wanted to say thanks, Megan. You were a big inspiration for me, kind of starting out doing some live streams. I did a bunch of watching, and you always brought something cool to the table, so appreciate that. And
I'm really glad to hear that. Because I feel like I'm just like, I don't know, like I'm not always the best at like explaining what I'm doing while I'm streaming, but I'm really glad you found it helpful.
I think the streaming platform is so cool because it can be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel, your contribution and yourself expressed through these. So it's been great to see that, to have that as a role model. So
thank you. Yeah, and I really like
to be here today.
Yeah, I really like the Wise streams too. The ones I've been able to tune into are very cool.
Cool.
Josie wants to know, are folks going to be able to meet either of you at GDC if they're going? Yes. I will be there. I'll have Divinuet stickers that I'll be giving out, so come find me. I'm also going to be on a panel with Josie called Making It Happen, Creating Their Own Games, and it's about audio people who decided to branch into making their own games and how it also in turn made us better at our jobs as composers and sound designers. So we gave it at Game SoundCon. It was really fun and excited to give it again. I don't know what day or time it is yet. I don't think they've told us yet. So, but it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So, yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
What about you, Damian?
I look forward to seeing you there. I'll also be around the week of GDC. I'll be co-hosting the newly renamed Audio Summit on Tuesday. Scott Selfin and I have a pretty cool lineup of things in store for folks on that Tuesday. And otherwise, I absolutely look forward to meeting folks there on the ground. I can't wait to see everyone.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, the other people on the stream is Candy, or not on the stream, on the panel. Candy Emberly is moderating, and then Tammy Duplantis will be on it as well. And David Sue isn't able to make the conference, but he's going to prepare his little part of the micro talk that he did at Game Sound Conference. So, yeah, it'll be awesome. It's a good group of people. It'll be fun. Yeah, okay. So does anyone have any questions or anything before we get going? Probably. Looks like not. Alright. Well, thank you, everyone. thanks for stopping by, and Damian, thanks for coming. It was great having someone to kind of talk through my process with instead of just feeling like I'm talking to myself.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me and letting me ride along during this.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, and plug real quick, I have a Patreon. There is a link below the video. I do, secret early releases and announcements of stuff on there. And also, if you pledge at $5 with more, you get all my games and albums for free. So, check it out if you want. And yeah, thanks again, y'all.
Sweet.
And now I will.
Thanks so much. Great to see everyone.
Yay, Josie with the link again. Thank you. All right, bye everyone.